Hi, welcome to Hit the Bricks. Today is part 4 of a series on building a custom Lego train and city table from scratch. If you didn't see the first 3, I would probably recommend that you watch those first. I'll put a link up on top just because they do go over all the progress that we've already made and kind of the reasons why using the materials that we're using in the first place. In this video, we're building off of what we have done, which is a basis of an IKEA table, a layer of 1.5 inch thick pink insulation foam that we've cut out and sanded and put into place to cover all the table. Now, we've got some things laid out too already. We got this track here, the train track, which was, I felt pretty essential of getting that down and getting a good idea of where some of this elevation that I want to do is going to come into play. So we've got this plastic power functions rail system here. That's going to have the passenger train that's going to go around. That does a full loop all the way around the table, or almost all the way around the table. It excludes the southern dock area here, which has a 9-volt train system from Lego. Quite a bit of an older system, but that's going to do a freight line. It's going to be a point-to-point system. So it's going to be from the southern docks. It's going to go all the way around the table to the northern rail yard, which then it will distribute its goods that it got from the dock to the rest of the city via trucks or what have you. So that's those 2 different main points there, the 9-volt and the power functions rail system. So we got those down. I'll be doing some tracing on the table with a pencil just to give me an idea of where this is, because I'm gonna have to lift this off to do the next step that we're gonna do in this video, and that is to build this up. So we're gonna build 3/4, so 75% of the table is gonna have at least one more layer, another 1.5 inches of pink insulation foam. So 75% of it's going to have that pink insulation foam. Let's go over the spots that are not going to have it, and you can see kind of where I'm going to have to cut this out to cover the rest of it in the areas that are not going to be covered. So this area right here, as I mentioned in a couple of the other videos, where this flex track is here, the power functions flex track, this half circle, that will be a bridge. So that's going to be a bridge, and it's going to be going over water. Now, if you didn't see the other videos, or if you don't remember, this whole area here, this open area, think of that as water. And think of boats being able to come in here into like a bay, visit the docks, and this is all going to be shoreline around here. This is a lighthouse that's proxied in for the MOCS that I'm going to be putting here. It's somebody else's MOCS that I will be reviewing and putting here. So this will be kind of a rocky outcropping that's going to have a lighthouse on. This is all going to be water all the way along this area. I'll kind of explain what's going on with the other areas a little bit later. So this is going to be a water area in here, kind of like a smaller bay. Not really sure exactly what I want to do with that right now, other than I know that I want to have water going underneath this bridge. So whether that becomes a resort area or another commercial docking type area, not sure, that's for another day. But I do want this built up, this area here, but not this. This needs to be the lowest level, which is this level right here, which is the water. That's only where the water is going to be. That's the only thing that's going to be on that layer of the table. So this is the water table, as it were. So I'm going to have to build up the majority of it. Other than this spot here where it's got water, the coastal areas that's got a little bit of water, and then this dock area here that you can see that where the track is, this is just kind of giving me a rough idea of where things are going to go as far as that foam and the track where it's in place. But that does give you an idea where it's going to be, and that's going to be raised up one level. That'll all be blue in there for the water as well. Coming back over here, this needs to be built up from here back at least one level. If we build it up one level, that's 1.5 inches. So the thickness of this pink foam. That would be okay. However, I'm thinking it probably needs to be built up 2 pink foam layers, so 3 inches, to really give it an effect where it looks like it's a bridge that's needed there, and give it some aesthetic, some height, and make it look a little bit more impressive as far as the bridge goes. So that means the rest of this, including all the northern rail yard, needs to be built up 2 levels. And over in this area here, this back, so from this rail line back, also needs to be 2 levels up. Now this here, in case you didn't see the other videos, this I'm believing is going to be all like a small beach area. So this would be the coast here, a little bit of blue, and then this would be the sand right here. This rail line, like I said, is going to be the passenger train line. So I do want to have a small passenger train station right here. So this will have a passenger train station and a platform. And I want the beach to be quite a bit lower. So that's why I'm pretty happy with this going to be 2 levels up, 3 inches up as well, because then I can have a nice walkway down to a beach area. So I plan to have the beach area, a walkway up, and then a pedestrian type bridge that goes over the railroad track to this station here that has the railroad platform on it. So we're looking at 2 layers of pink foam all the way back here. So that brings us to this area. Now this area here, I had a couple different ideas of what I wanted to do right here. One of them was to possibly have a river that went over this. And one of the other videos, I asked people to comment if they would like to see a river there or any other ideas or what have you. And a few people commented that they would like to see the river. So I really appreciate everybody who comments on the videos in general and everybody who gives a thumbs up. So that being said, thank you to all those that did comment on thinking a river would look good here. And I think is what's appealing about that is it's gonna mean there's a bridge here for the railroad track, and back here it's actually gonna be a dual bridge as far as dual tracks going over, because once again, that 9-volt train system that goes from the southern docks to the northern rail yard, that is gonna be parallel. It's not back here because I'm actually waiting on those tracks to come in, but that will be parallel with that track. So it's gonna be pretty impressive. We're gonna have 3 bridges right here. So that being said, this being built up to would make sense. 2 layers, that is, of pink foam, because we're gonna have the river and the bridges going here. So now we've got all this area essentially that needs to have 2 layers. When we go into this back corner here where this other flex track is this wider radius turn, that's also gonna have the 9-volt system behind there, that I really would like to have built up even more. So I would like that to be more of a larger hill or something. And I would like to have the 9-volt train go through a tunnel, is what I'm thinking. Not sure if it's gonna go underneath the power functions track, if that's really gonna be feasible or necessary to do that, but it will at least be going in a tunnel against that back wall. And then this power functions track will probably be on a ridge of a hill. I'm not gonna call it a mountain, because I don't think it's going to be quite that big, but it's definitely going to be higher up in elevation than the rest of the board. So we're looking at least 3 layers of elevation right there. And this one being raised up, the dock 9-volt rail system is going to be that 1 layer off the ground going into that tunnel. So that's where I came up with needing about 3/4, 75% of this whole train layout, city Lego layout to be covered with at least 1 more layer. I guess we're talking 2 layers of pink insulation foam. So what we need to do is do some marks on the table now, like here and here and over here for the river, of the places that are not going to be covered with 2 layers, the 2nd layer of pink foam. And then I'll start cutting it and laying it out there. And also this area here on the sides, this is all going to have to be cut out because, again, this is going to be that water table, the lowest level with the beach here or the water along the side. So there's going to be some trimming that needs to be done as well. So we better get to it. Okay, so we've got the boards cut out roughly into where they're gonna go. I think it's starting to show its shape and the feel of what this layout is going to be, especially in these type of areas that it's cut out. So we've got the bridge here, the circular bridge. We can see that it's raised up one now, and the kayaks almost fit underneath it. So it kind of gives an idea what that would look like if we just kept it at 1.5 inches high, the one pink board high. Now this is going to be cut out more here. So this is going to be a larger bridge than this. What I'm going to do for the time being is cut this out in a half circle, so we can see this water feature right here. That's going to be that smaller bay type area that I'm not sure what I'm going to do with, but I do know that it's going to be there. So we're going to cut that half circle out, and that'll give us a good idea, give us more of a feeling of how this is going to be like over here. Also have to trim out all this area here because this is where the beach is going to be. So this is going to be trimmed back to this railroad track here. So I'll be cutting this all out. Back in the rail yard, not too much work to be done there as far as trimming, just going to trim along the edge a little bit so we have the coastline so it's not exactly the same size as the board underneath. As we go over here, this is going to be the bridge area, so the 3 bridges. This will be cut out a little bit right here for the beach area. This is approximating what that bridge size is going to be. I don't have a bridge made for it yet, but it gives us an idea how that's going to feel. It obviously won't be a straight, perfectly straight like that, like a canal or anything. It's going to be more natural looking. This piece here, this is actually just a scrap piece. That's why it's cut like that. I'm not really too worried about how all this really looks on the edges too much on this second level. And I'm not worried about imperfections like this. Have to keep in mind this is still a Lego city. It's all going to be covered by Lego. We're not putting model railroad terrain over this. We're not putting any kind of fake turf or anything. This is all going to be covered. This is just going to be base plates over. So still just purely a Lego city that we're using some of the model railroading techniques to build it up. So that makes like these type of things not a real big deal, any kind of imperfections, because it's just going to be covered by bricks anyways. In this corner here, this is where it's going to be elevated higher, at least 3 levels. Right now it's just got the second level on it, which is going to be what the 9-volt, the freight train from the Southern Docks uses. So that will be the level that train is on. This one is going to be raised up at least 1 more level. I'm also debating on cutting out this middle section here around the passenger train, the flex track, cut that down to the bottom level to the water table, just to give it more of a feeling of a depth, maybe like a valley or something. So that is something that I may consider. I'm not going to do that today, but I am going to cut out all this area that I just talked about yet in this video, so you can kind of see what that looks like and really give a good idea, a really good feeling of what the board's going to look like. So I'm going to do that now, and then we'll wrap up the video with some final thoughts. And then the next video, we will go on and build up the next level. Okay, so we've got the little Christmas train running successfully around the track here, going over the new bridge area. So I cut this out in just a random type shape. because this could go in this way, it could go out this way. We do that all with bricks. I just wanted to make sure that we kind of got the feel of this being water. We got the kayaks over here, so this will all be water in here. I cut this out along the shoreline because this is going to be that beach area. So now you can kind of see the beach is going to be lower like this, where I have some steps or some kind of a pathway leading up here, and then that pedestrian bridge over the railroad track to the railroad station that we talked about. So it gives you more of an idea of what that's going to look like. Over here we've got the tracks going over then what's going to be the river. Some makeshift supports here, because otherwise when the train comes over it needs some support. Just cut this out a little bit here and cut out a little bit along the side there. But the train is running good, so I'm happy with that. It's good to see it running around. It gives a good idea of what it's going to look like with that depth and such. So this was a lot of fun to do this. It's going to get even more exciting as we go on, because it's really going to start to take shape. So if you like this video, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell notification. Give us a thumbs up there. And we are going to just continue on this journey. So next video we'll be building up even more and taking even more shape of what this is going to look like. So thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.